Hi, here I'm reviewing the other of my ancillary products, which is the radio advert. Overall, I think that this went pretty well. I would probably say this mainly because I think that it sounds exactly how you would expect a radio advert to sound, and I played it back to a couple of people and they thought that it was good, and they said that it made them want to go and watch the actual product, which I suppose that is the purpose of it. And I asked some people who said that they would be interested in this type of genre, and they said that they would probably, after listening to that, go and watch the actual product, which, that's obviously a massively important thing to me, because ultimately that's the purpose. I'd say, obviously it achieves its purpose, and I would say I've largely stuck to codes and conventions in order to fulfill the purpose. I can't really think of any ways that I've changed, sort of gone against conventions. I've largely stuck to them. I think the whole voiceover thing, with clips of audio from the actual show, I think that's quite a typical thing. I mean, I looked at a few radio adverts and also television adverts as well, because they're both quite similar, and that was a recurring theme. You'd have a voiceover, especially for documentary type shows. For example, like I watched a couple of TV adverts for BBC. It's slightly different to radio, but quite often you'd have clips from the show, audio from the show, with sort of a voiceover cut in and out. So I think largely it stuck to the conventions. In terms of finding it easy or hard, it was pretty straightforward. Didn't really come across many problems, because really what I was doing was quite straightforward. Some of it was probably the hardest thing that I had to do was cut it down to it's about a minute long. Ideally I didn't really want it a minute long, because when a radio advert's often quite quick and quite snappy, and I don't know if it is really that. Perhaps there is. I could take out. I found a sort of an archive footage, like the audio from that, because I think I put 3 or 4 bits of that in. Maybe I could cut 1 or 2 out, but at the same time I just thought all 3 of them in, they seem to work quite well. The voiceover that I did since going quite well, quite a long time. The interviews, I feel, they had to be in there. Absolutely vital that they were in there. But at the same time, I just think a minute, that's quite a long time for a radio advert. So maybe if I was doing it again, I would perhaps change that around. Other than the sort of length of it, I'm reasonably happy with it all, and everything went quite smoothly when I was making it, because really there wasn't a great deal of actual editing to do. It was mainly just sort of making sure the sound levels were sort of consistent, and there wasn't one bit that was really, really loud and one bit that was really, really quiet, and also making sure that it all sort of flowed quite nicely, which I think it does. It's not too harsh when you're listening to it, so you don't suddenly get an abrupt stop and then a really sort of loud next bit. I think that it all flows quite nicely. That's probably another key thing with a radio advert. Again, like I say, that's important. Other than that, there wasn't really much. It's just sifting through long clips to get the bits I wanted, which that's quite time consuming, and actually took a lot of time in the edit suite, but put a bit of extra time into it at home just to make sure that perhaps I knew the exact location of the bits that I wanted, and you know, perhaps that little bit of extra preparation helped me, saved a bit of time, meant that I could just plonk a clip into these edits and just like instantly cut the bits that I wanted, add the effects and start putting it together, which that was probably one of the main things. If I was to do it differently, again, I don't know in all honesty, what I'd do differently, other than really cut it down, maybe, cut bits out. Maybe I would get an audio from an interview from another perspective, but if I'm honest, you cannot really tell what team either of the people I interviewed support. I don't think too much, other than the one that's quite obvious, but I think, you know, it's a lot of it is also general views, some of them that I've put in, but yeah, I think there's a few things that I do, but mainly I think I'd keep quite a bit of the same, because I think it went reasonably well.